This was crazy, bro.
You can give everyone here like a $50,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not.
First, notice how this dude, and so they're talking about reparations. Notice how he changes what he says. First, he starts off by saying, you could give everybody in this room a $50,000 check and it's not going to change anything. He then changes that to saying, especially people in the streets, because he knows he would have to be admitting that he is such a fucking retard because he's black, that if he were to receive $50,000, that in no way is going to positively impact the trajectory of his life, nor would it impact any of the people in this room. But he remembered, oh wait, no, I'm one of the good ones. No, it's only the poor blacks in the hood that are going to spend it all on fucking hot Cheetos and rims and Jordans that it wouldn't help. So that's why they shouldn't receive it. Anyway, that was a quick aside. Let's keep it pushing.
Can increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other, according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
She like, nope. Fake. That shit, nope, nuh-uh, no, nope. Nope.
Statistics lie.
Notice Asmongold doesn't actually, like, debunk her or says anything. This is how the white supremacist operates. This is how the low information, lowly educated white supremacist operates. He's just like, she's wrong. Nope. But yet gives zero information. Okay. How do you know she's wrong? And what is she wrong about exactly?
All the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie. They lie all the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to...
So the people, well, I don't even understand.
Ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in.
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe this?
I'm telling the truth.
This is what happens when Twitter meets reality. This is exactly what happens, false equivalence. Well, the thing is that, I mean, again, none of the Chinese people that were oppressed under, the law of 1882 exist anymore. They're all dead. It's the same as every single black person that was a victim of slavery is dead too, at least in America. There's still slavery in other places of the world. But yeah, they're all dead. This is a dead issue.
No, it's not, because when money is owed, money is owed. If you were owed money by the U.S. government or even a private person or a corporation and you happen to die, that those people don't just get let off the hook in your eyes. I'm sure if you had children, you would expect your children to receive the money that you are owed. Why should the victim be punished for the fact that the perpetrator of the crime is dragging their feet? That doesn't make sense. Is that how we should all just get out of our debt and our obligations and what we owe? Just don't pay them and hope they die before us? That doesn't work, sir. And that is the argument for reparations. Reparations is not a punishment on white people. It is not a penalty on white people or a gift to black people to say, sorry, we were bad to you guys. It's the fact that there were people who worked and were not compensated, and the wealth that they built is still fueling the corporation that is around today, which is the U.S. government. The U.S. government enriched itself off of the free labor of blacks, and then these black people were not compensated for their work. It's that simple. And of course, we all understand that they are dead, but these black people had children. So the descendants of these slaves, which most black Americans who are the descendants of slaves can actually prove that their bloodline goes back to the time of slavery. These people should receive the money that their great-great-grandparents or their great-grandparents were owed.
Like anybody that's living in this is like, it's not even that at all.
There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in
What
America.
about the Japanese who U.S. put in the camps? Yeah, exactly. And that was in the 40s too. Well, to be fair, they did get reparations for that. And I think it's fair that they got reparations for that.
It's fair that they got reparations. Just so you know, the Japanese were put in internment camps for 3 to 4 years during World War II. 3 to 4 years, and they weren't forced to work. They were mostly just sitting around. It was basically like an open air prison that they were put in, but they weren't abused, they weren't whipped, and they weren't forced to work for free. Yet, the black Americans who worked for hundreds of years, even if you're just going to count the last generation of people who worked, which you shouldn't because their parents worked for free too, but even if you were just going to count the last generation of people, you're still talking about a group of people that worked for decades for free, and they didn't deserve reparations?
America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington.
If you believe the Japanese deserved reparations, you must believe that black slaves deserved reparations because they got treated for far worse. They got treated far worse for far longer. And the only way you would deny that is if you're a fucking racist.
Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other. But they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my
Tell me.
God, this is scary.
Black men are not more likely to kill you because you're black. That's the difference. White people are, right? And just very recently, a young black man was beaten and put in the hospital by 4 white teenagers. This was a 18-year-old black boy or black guy, and he was beaten and put in the hospital by 4 racist white teenagers who were yelling racial slurs at him. One of them, the perpetrators, was the son of a police officer, and he is on video when the cops showed up and are dealing with the situation, basically saying, "We own this city."
Yeah. With all the cops, cuz. Yeah. We own this. I'm just kidding. Get in the car. You ain't in this car.
And that is why black people sometimes, depending on their environment in cultural context, feel unsafe around white people in a way that they don't feel around black people. Because white people, we live in a country where white people, as this young white racist boy articulated, believe they have the power, the ability to hurt and harm black people with no consequences. That's the difference.
You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now.
Okay.
It's crazy to me that, you know what this seems like to me? This is like a soundboard. It's like a soundboard of a dumb person that thinks that they're clever. It's like, this is the kind of way that you would talk to somebody on the internet, but whenever it actually comes into like a public conversation, you realize how obnoxious and patronizing and self-defeating this type of rhetoric is. She's trying to belittle him. She's yeah, because she's stupid. That's the reason why.
No, you're just white, and you don't understand that in black culture, we respect our elders, right? When you're having a conversation, you're supposed to respect your elders. That's just the culture that we come from. You don't talk to your black elders any way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, with Gen Z, shit is different now. You feel me? But it's been a running meme for a long time that a white kids tell their moms to shut up, mom. You know what I'm saying? You speak back to your but you wouldn't understand it because that's culture.
Okay, so On a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that Black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way,
not even today,
to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism, and we have seen.
There's no way to make the argument because I said it's not true.
Well, okay. Well, I counter that not with just saying it's not true, but giving you actual evidence. So I asked ChatGPT, list all the ways in which systemic racism is still a part of the Black American experience. And of course, it gave me quite a lengthy list, but I'm only going to focus on a few. Under the category of economic inequality, we look at a subsection employment discrimination. Studies show that identical resumes with white-sounding names get more callbacks than black-sounding names. That's right. If you have a white-sounding name as to one that sounds a little bit more ethnic, a little bit more black, you have a higher likelihood of getting a call back. Under the subsection of education, disciplinary disparities, Black children are suspended and expelled at much higher rates than white children for similar behavior, feeding into the school to prison pipeline. Facts don't care about your feelings here. This is an unfeeling computer that is producing these answers by looking at all the available data and giving you the most logical answer based on the information that is available. Here's an oldie but a goodie, sentencing disparities under criminal justice. This one I think is the one that speaks incredibly loud. Maybe not the loudest, but it's very loud. Black people receive longer sentences than whites for the same crimes. Crack versus powder cocaine laws historically hit Black communities harder, even though, crack versus powder cocaine sentencing disparities are one of the clearest examples of how systemic racism shaped U.S. drug policy and the criminal justice system. Let's break it down in detail. In the 1980s, the crack cocaine epidemic primarily hit Black urban communities, while powder cocaine was more commonly used among white affluent populations. Media and politicians portrayed crack as far more dangerous than powder, even though chemically they are almost identical. This moral panic led Congress to pass the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, which created extreme sentencing differences between crack and powder cocaine. Very similar to how in heavy metal and rock music you have Luciferian, demonic songs, violent songs talking about all kinds of crazy shit. I just like to say that shit was incredibly ass. I much rather listen to King Von.
Red alert, I'm the dangerous, I keep that clock on me. And I ain't looking for no trouble, I'm just looking out for me. Cause I done did shit, the niggas ain't talking about no rapping beat.
Yeah, we just got aura, bro. Niggas just got aura. It is what it is. But notice how King Von is actually telling a story when fucking white people talk about violence. It's just, there is something inside me. It's coming out. I feel like killing you. Like, bro, what the fuck is that, bro? Oh, well, you know what I'm saying. Nah, it's just black people, we're the problem. We have multiple video games that drop every year and are in the household of just about every American teenager. Video games that glorify violence and the use of guns, yet none of these are ever pointed at as a cause of white people being violent. Anytime a white kid shoots up a school, no one asks what was on his Spotify playlist. Anytime a white kid shoots up his family, no one asks, oh, how many hours did he spend playing Call of Duty? That shit is irrelevant, even though it's literally practicing, pretending, playing a virtual version of murdering people. That doesn't matter. But, a black rapper talks about shooting up his ops. Oh, yeah, well, that must clearly, definitely be causing black people to be more violent. Again, this is that, just the cocaine versus crack, just in music form, right? Oh, because it's black, it has to be worse. Oh, black people are using crack? Oh, yeah, that must mean the crack is way, way worse, even though chemically they're almost identical. Now, check this out. The 100-to-1 rule. Under this law, 5 grams of crack cocaine, about the weight of a nickel, triggered a 5-year mandatory minimum federal prison sentence. However, it took 500 grams of powder cocaine to trigger the same sentence. Put another way, a person with crack cocaine faced the same punishment as someone with 100 times more powder cocaine. Now, when you understand that crack, when you make crack from cocaine, the potency drops to anywhere between 30 and 70%, right? Now, if you split the difference, let's just call it 50%, meaning you could make 1,000 grams of crack from the amount of cocaine that would get you 5 years in prison. However, only 5 grams of crack was enough to get you 5 years in prison. Now, crack was cheaper and more accessible in poor black neighborhoods, and so it was targeted heavily by law enforcement. Powder cocaine was more common among white users who were punished far less severely. Now, here's the kicker. By the early 1990s, over 80% of federal crack convictions were of black defendants, even though the majority of crack users were white or Hispanic. You see, people talk about the crack epidemic in the 80s or in the 90s and how it decimated the black community as if blacks were hooked on crack to a degree that whites weren't. Like, oh, this was just something going on with just black people. They were just smoking a bunch of crack. No, white people used more cocaine. They used more crack. And yet black people filled up the prisons. Why? Because black people are over-policed and are given harsher sentences for the exact same crimes. Systemic racism.
In very clear ways, the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off.
Yeah, sure. And so anyway, there's another person. See, and this is the problem that people like this have, like this young guy, is that he tries to be respectful and listen to other people's perspectives.
Right.
With people like her, you can't do that. They're lying retards that don't care about the truth.
Oh, wow. No, you're a lying retard that doesn't care about the truth. I would love, you're not going to respond to this video. I already know, but I would love for you to respond to any of the points I just made. Debunk me, debunk ChatGPT, because apparently ChatGPT is also a lying retard that doesn't care about the truth.
They don't care.
I promise you, it was probably made by a bunch of good, smart white men that coded ChatGPT. And some Asians too, probably.
Care about the truth. They don't care.
I know that means something to you.
About any sort of objectivity. They don't care about anything other than pushing what they believe. That's it. Wow. And they want to bully and attack and criticize and demonize anybody that they disagree with.
Did any of that just happen? Did we see her bully, attack, or demonize that young man? Not at all. But he wants you to believe that.
Watch this one.
So why is that fair for people who never had slaves, who fought against slavery, to have to pay for people that had slaves?
One, from my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves. That is priority to you than finding a fair way to.
This is an optical argument. Again, this is what I'm saying, is people like this, they only think about how things sound, not what they are.
Why does it sound? Oh, well, first and foremost, let's establish this. This is not about fair or not fair. This is about what is owed. Okay, so if fucking what's this guy's name, Asmongold, were to get hit by a mail truck, right, a USPS truck, were to hit him, and he sued the government, right, because USPS is a federal organization, right, it's ran by the US government, and he sued them. Where do you think that money comes from? It's not coming out of the mailman's check. When Asmon goes and sues the government for over $1 million, that mailman can't pay that shit. No, you're going to pay it, even though you didn't do it. You didn't hit the guy, right? But it's going to come out of your taxes, out of your paycheck. And so, but you're okay with that. If you were wrongly convicted of a crime and put in prison for several years, and then you were finally vindicated and freed, you would expect a check from the U.S. government. Where do you think that money comes from? All the money the U.S. government has, for the most part, comes from taxes. That's where the money is coming from. But you expect that money, right? So these slaves were owed 40 acres. That was parceled out to them. 40 acres was parceled out by a Union general at the end of the war. Can't remember his name right now. 400,000 acres of land in Georgia and South Carolina, I believe, was sectioned off, and black people started to move in there. This was an agreement that was made because they understood this was the right thing to do. These people were forced to work without pay. They suffered horrible, horrible crimes against humanity. They were finally freed. The only righteous thing to do is to give these people at least a little bit of land so they can start their lives. Well, they received this land and they started to settle. And then Abraham Lincoln was assassinated and replaced with Andrew Jackson. He decided, no. These blacks, they deserve nothing. They were stripped of the land, and the land was given back to the Southern traders. That's how racist this country has been. Instead of giving these black people just a piece of land that they can start their lives on after enduring generations of the worst kind of treatment, just give them a little land. And understand this, white people got plenty of free land in the Homestead Act. This country was so racist that it couldn't even just live with the idea of black people having that land. And so they said, fuck it, let's take it and give it back to the people who try to kill us and try to overthrow the government. Yeah. And the blacks, let's put them in prison for not having anywhere to live and not having a job. This was called vagrancy. It was a crime. It was a crime to be black and unemployed and just out in public. You could be put in jail and end up serving several years of hard labor. It birthed a whole new era of slavery. You can learn about that by reading this book, Slavery by Another Name by Douglas A. Blackman. He's a white man, by the way, so don't worry. This book won a Pulitzer Prize.
Accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country.
No, they settled on that land. They wanted that land. They wanted that land that was promised to them, but then was stripped from them by that racist president. Fuck Andrew Johnson for life, no doubt.
Oh, well, you don't want that. Uh-oh.
We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice
Donald
president.
Trump.
I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama.
What does that mean?
Obama is the product of white people. So let's not get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism. And
no, he's right about this, is that the people it's people like her that they constantly push racism shit and they constantly complain about everything. And the reason why, see, like a lot of people don't understand the economy that this creates. The reason why people like her complain about racism is that it gets them attention and it makes people do what they want.
Oh, so it's not because black people are disproportionately killed by white police officers, and that's a fact. It's not because of any of the many things that I've listed in this video, right? Like the fact that black people are charged more harshly for the same crimes as white people, penalized more harshly for the same crimes as white people. That's an imagination, right? That's imaginary. That's not a part of reality, right? Black people are actually making up racism. There is no racism. There is no injustice. There is no nothing. It's not real. And it's just black women like this who are making it up so that they can go on Jubilee and talk about it. Okay. Yeah. As a white man, you honestly cannot speak on this topic because not only are you just, it's impossible for you to have ever been the victim of white supremacy, but secondly, you clearly are completely uneducated on the topic.
And to the extent that they get attention and people capitulate to their demands whenever they cry about racism, well, then they're going to keep doing it because it works.
I wonder if he has the same logic about pedophilia. Maybe that's why there are still so many problems in regards to children being abused, is that we keep talking about children getting abused. Maybe if we all just shut up and stop calling out PDF files and talking about pedos, maybe it will just all disappear. Apparently, that's Asmongold's logic. Ignore the problem and then it will go away. Right? When has that ever worked?
Instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward, people that have this liberal mindset are infecting
Just a minute. Where's my spider? Oh, there he is. There he is. He moved. Okay, never mind. He's good.
our communities, black people, and making
Let me move back.
you to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that are
These people don't want unity because unity means that their power structure doesn't exist anymore. Their entire apparatus of influence and authority comes from grievance. These people are professional problem havers. That's all they do. So they will never.
White people are professional problem causers. That's the real situation here. Guys like Asmongold don't want to take accountability. They always love talking about accountability. Like black people need to take accountability. We already take way more accountability because we get punished more harshly by the criminal justice system in America. You don't want to take accountability for the fact that you are the product of white supremacy. You don't like that. You like to believe that America is one big meritocracy, and the reason why you are where you are is only because you woke up one day and you just knew how to get shit done. The real question is, are there consequences to actions? Right? Are there consequences to actions? What happens when you enslave people for hundreds of years, and then when you finally give them freedom, you then create a police system that shovels black men into prison by the tens of thousands, if not the hundreds of thousands, to then work in hard labor for free for several more decades, when you execute political strategies like gerrymandering and redlining to prevent black people from building wealth.
This liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby, please.
They said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
Man.
What's the big deal? What does that have to do with anything?
Man. Fucking got him.
How? What does that prove? Okay, there were some white people with an ounce of humanity that helped this woman who was risking her very life to free black people. Right.
They were on the Underground Railroad.
No, you know who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God.
She goes, no. Every time, this is what I find is funny, is that every time somebody says something that makes like what she's saying just sound like bullshit, no.
And
People who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things that
Wait, what?
Underground Railroad.
No,
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God. And
people who benefit from white supremacy.
So people who helped Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad to rescue slaves did it because they benefited from white supremacy.
Yeah. The only reason they had the ability to help in a capacity that black men weren't able to help is because they were the beneficiaries of white supremacy. It's very simple, right? when you're white in America, you're essentially invisible. You're given the benefit of the doubt. It's easier for you to commit crimes. It's easier, even a crime like smuggling black slaves to the north. You're less suspicious. And their white supremacy bought them that ability, or being the recipients of white supremacy bought them that ability.
Damn, bro. Like,
how is this hard? How is any of this difficult to you? The thing is, it's not difficult. It's not hard. You just have to stop being racist for a second. If you just stop being racist for a second and stop villainizing black people and actually try to, you don't even got to steal, man, the arguments on the other side. You know, just barely try a little bit to understand the argument coming from the black side. You would fucking get it. But you don't want to get it because you want to pander to your fucking, you know, racist, conservative fans, which is fine. This is fine. I don't have a problem with, you know, white people in their white spaces. It's cool. Go, you know, and do what you do.
What? God damn, bro. You got to put your brain in the...
It's just that for some, you know, we have overlapping audience to some degree. I have some black people who follow me that fuck with you, and I'm trying to unbrainwash them.
Microwave to figure that one out. For a while.
Notice how Asmongold hasn't given a single piece of evidence to support any of his positions. Notice he hasn't given anything, nothing, not a shred of anything. Just a bunch of, wow, whoa, oh. That's it. That's all he's given. And yet his chat thinks he's cooking right now. Oh, and he's called her a retard and stupid a few times. You know, that's it.
Damn, what the fuck? That's wild. Damn.
Wow. That's wild, Dad.
One of the things
It's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir,
It's
that's
a
simply
lie.
not
There's
true.
no such. I mean,
If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their
hear
culture, black culture, is toxic.
Oh, she did not like that. She did not like that at all. Damn.
What's so especially toxic about black culture?
Culture is toxic. We have produced a culture.
Less than 0.5% of the black population commits violent crimes. That's a fact. There are just under 400,000 black people in prison for all crimes, including nonviolent crimes. There are approximately 40 million black people in America. All right. If you divide 400,000, and it's really closer to 380,000 black people in prison right now. If you divide that by 40 million, you are going to get less than 1%. Now, of course, again, that's the entire 380-some thousand black people in prison right now, including nonviolent offenders. And so exactly what part of black culture is toxic or bad or violent or anything of that nature? Because that's usually what they look at, is the violence, right? Let's not forget that, you know, the most famous OnlyFans models, the most famous porn stars, they're all white. Mass shooters are white. The group of people that is most likely to abuse children are white. That's right. White people are more likely than black people to be PDF files. That's a statistical fact. But could we dare pin that on white culture? Probably not, right? Because it's such a small percentage of the population, but yet you get to characterize black culture like that. See, again, I have no hope for Asmongold. I have no hope for his white fans. This video is for black people, for the blacks that are mesmerized by white success, by white fame.
That is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop. No. No. That's it. That's the argument. No.
That's been your whole argument this whole video. So
Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit.
It's
not gonna work. No, a debate has to be in facts.
You're putting off emotional liberalism right now.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism.
Uh-huh.
You're putting off unfounded lies
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they did the
It is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at this
conservatives
man.
did. They said
You're carrying a
misinformation.
chain around-
He's right. He's totally right about this.
What
and
is
this
he
is
right
the thing
about?
is like this guy is completely equipped to handle her in a way that the previous guy, he was too polite, he was too reasonable. This guy's dealt with bitches like this before. He's probably dealt with somebody like this for his whole life. He knows what the boss mechanics are. Yeah, he knows how to handle this shit. You just throw it. Yeah, exactly, right?
Your neck of an apartheid nation that actively
Hose
wants
mad?
to
Yeah,
harm
true.
black people and
What about the
non-Jewish people.
apartheid? What
But
about
let
when-
me bring it
what
back.
about when
Let
black
me bring
people
it
were
back.
selling black people
Let me
in
bring it.
Africa
That was not happening
put
in the
them in
context.
They did not do it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. No, it was. Were there white people in Africa? What do you mean? Damn.
that you're saying.
No,
And they were selling
Let's
their
bring
own
it
people.
back.
Black people still sell
Okay.
their own people today too. By
I don't
the
know
way,
if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own
I
people
can't-
today
I don't know
too.
if I'm gonna
You probably
last.
won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so overwhelming.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if black people sold black people into slavery. Now, it is a matter of fact that white people kidnapped black people en masse from the continent of Africa and then brought them to America and forced them to work. That is a historical fact. You can look into that if you like. However, that's irrelevant. The American government enriched itself from the free labor of black Americans. That's the problem. Black people were born in this country, the descendants of slaves, and from the day they were born, they were property, and they worked till the day they die, and they received nothing for it. And the corporation, the U.S. government, that enriched itself off this work is still here today and is still thriving and is, in fact, the wealthiest country in the world. And so what is being demanded is that the descendants of these people that work for free under these wicked, evil, inhumane conditions are finally compensated for the work of their ancestors to right a wrong, yes, in part, but to pay what is owed. That is the argument. It really don't matter what was going on in the continent of Africa.
She go, no.
Liberals, y'all start name calling when y'all get
it's
defeated
not
in an
name
argument.
calling. You won't have an
Oh yeah, only liberals name call. Yeah, Asmongold has called her a stupid retard like 3 times, which, you know, whatever. I call people names all the time. I'm not virtue signaling here. I'm just saying this guy's completely wrong that only people on the left call names.
argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine if they don't let me come
You
back
won't
on.
even.
I made my point.
You didn't make your
I
point.
made my point.
You haven't
And
made
I'm
your
okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point.
Yeah.
You started off saying we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations
Right.
is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
But you didn't do anything. You didn't work or do anything.
Did the Japanese do anything? You said the Japanese, they were owed money for sitting around for 3 years. Did they work? Did they do anything? No, but you said earlier in this video, they deserved reparations. Oh, right, because they're closer to Caucasian.
What about the Japanese who U.S. put in the camps? Yeah, exactly. And that was in the 40s, too. Well, to be fair, they did get reparations for that. And I think it's fair that they got reparations for that.
Nothing he says now can be valid. He already said that reparations are valid for the Japanese who got paid a handsome amount of money for doing fucking nothing.
What? Who? What do you mean?
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should
That-
people who are sitting at home playing video games,
Yeah.
smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting at
be
home playing a
giving
video game?
checks?
Are
But
you
no, the
sitting at
people that
home
they-
playing a video game?
The people that they're wanting
Am I
reparations
sitting at home
for-
playing a video game? No.
It'd be better if you were. I'll tell you that. No, entitled loser. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. This guy's a fucking joker. Anyway. Yeah. You know, Asmongold is going to do Asmongold things. That's nothing to, you know what I'm saying, fucking lose any sleep about. But if you're a black person, just understand, if you are in these conservative spaces, these fucking frogman spaces, you know, the meme or whatever the fuck, you are cooning by being in these spaces, just so you know a little bit. If you're participating and he and ha-haing with these guys and high-fiving and shit like that, you are cooning. These people have they don't care about you at all. They don't care to learn about your history. They don't care to see your ancestors receive any form of justice. They don't give a fuck about you. And if anything, if you ever did anything bad, they're going to think, oh yeah, that's to be expected, right? Yeah.